Good evening, guys. Good evening. Good evening. How was your weekend? Good evening. Can you hear me loud and clear, please? Comment. Can you hear me loud and clear? Drop a comment. Also, also confirm you can see my screen. Confirm you can see my screen. Um, uh, Good evening, Mr. Joseph. You're participating on this live stream. Go ensure you comment. You comment so that I will know you're in this class. You comment. Only when you comment, I get to know that you are participating in this class. Okay, you comment. You can hear me loud and clear. Please comment. Also confirm you can see my screen. Confirm there is no noise in the background, please. Confirm there is no noise in the background. Is the sound okay? Good evening, Mr. Raphael. The sound is not clear. Please ensure your volume is at its peak. Ensure your volume is at its peak. Okay. Before you say the sound is not okay, that I'm not audible, ensure that your volume is at its peak. All right, Mr. Raphael. Okay. US CHF, US JPY, New Zealand JPY. Okay. We'll look at that in a few minutes. If you have any question, just drop it in the comment section. If there's any instrument you want us to analyze together, drop it in the comment section. You all are welcome to tonight's live stream. I want to believe you all are prepared for a profitable week. So, Mr. Raphael, you want us to look at USDCHF, USDJPY, NZDJPY. I would like to know your bias. I'd like to know your bias on those pairs. I'd like to know your bias on those pairs. USDCHF, USDJPY, New Zealand JPY. Mr. Raphael, want me to analyze those instruments? I want to know your bias. What's your take on USDCHF, USDJPY, NZDJPY? Good evening, Mr. Tonda. Good evening. If you have any question, if there's any instrument you want us to look at, please drop it in the comment section. Okay, so let's start by looking at the fundamentals for the week. Okay, this week I think is FOMC and CPI data will be released from the United States, and these are high impact news. Okay, these are high impact news. These are news you shouldn't ignore. Can't ignore this major news. Okay, so on Monday, no major news. Tuesday, no major news. What does that mean? It means we shouldn't expect high volatility in the market. That's what it means. There are no major news to be released. When no major news is expected, you should expect low volatility. But sometimes we could see high volatility even without major news. But most times when there are no major news, there are no the market is the volatility is very low. So Monday, Tuesday. And on Wednesday, we have major news will be released from New Zealand by 3 a.m. Nigerian time, official cash rate. And also JPY, Bank of Japan governor will be speaking. And FOMC meetings will be released. FOMC meeting minutes will be released on Wednesday by 7 p.m. Nigerian time. Then on Thursday, 11 a.m. Australian dollar. News will be released from Australia. Governor Bullock speaks. Okay, and by 1:30, we are expecting CPI and unemployment claims from the United States. So we should expect high volatility on USD pairs from Wednesday evening to Friday. That is when we would see high volatility in the market. Okay. Then on Friday, like I said, on Friday also we should expect high volatility on GBP and USD pairs. As you can see, gross domestic product for the United States for Great Britain will be released on Friday. So we should expect high volatility from Wednesday. from Wednesday. If you are patient, you should just wait for the major news to be released before you trade. That's my advice. And if you're trading before the major news is released, you should be very conservative. Okay, you must ensure that you have a very clear setup to buy or sell before the news is released. For the fundamentals, let's get to the chart. So let's look at our dollar index. We use the dollar index to measure the strength of the dollar. Okay, so let's see what we have on dollar index. Yes, guys. Dollar index was strongly bearish all through last week. So what can I see on dollar index? Now on dollar index, we can see that price just filled this fair value gap. Can you see that? We're on the weekly time frame. Price just filled this fair value gap. Last week I shared this with you guys that DXY has a high probability of coming to fill this fair value gap, and that was achieved last week. You can see price has filled this fair value gap, and there's a high probability price is going to pull back. As you can see, there's a strong rejection from this fair value gap. And you see that this is the weekly time frame, and you can see a level of liquidity has been created here. This high is an area of liquidity. This previous high is a level of liquidity, and also we have a fair value gap here that DXY is likely going to fill. There's a fair value gap here. Let me go down to daily. So you can see this fair value gap on a daily time frame. Can you see this fair value gap? DXY might come to fill this fair value gap. If it doesn't fill this fair value gap, it is likely going to come and retest this support, which has become a resistance. That is my expectation on DXY. Okay, but if DXY breaks this support, if it breaks this support on a daily time frame, then we should expect more bearish move on DXY. Okay, we should expect more bearish move on DXY if DXY breaks this support it's created on Friday. Okay, now that's it for the weekly and the daily time frame. Let's go down to 4-hour time frame. Let's see what we have on 4-hour time frame. Okay, so you can see the pattern we have here. This is a bullish reversal pattern on 4-hour time frame. This is a bullish reversal pattern. As you can see, the last bearish candle that formed here, you can see the market is currently trading above the high. Okay, the market is currently trading above the high of this last bearish candle. And also you can see here that a resistance was created. A resistance was created and the market broke out from that resistance. That tells me demand is higher than supply. Are you with me? That tells me that demand is higher than supply. And when demand is higher than supply, price is expected to go up. Okay, so what we have here on the 4-hour time frame is a bullish reversal pattern. Now, if we go down to 1-hour time frame, as you know, price will first fill internal range liquidity before going for external range liquidity. I hope you know that. Price will first of all fill internal range liquidity before going for external range liquidity. So let's see the fair value gap was created. So you can see what played out here on DXY. Can you see what played out here on DXY? After the breakout from this resistance, you can see a fair value gap was created. Can you see this fair value gap that was created? And price has pulled back. You can see this fair value gap that was created. Can you see? Price has pulled back to fill this fair value gap. Can you see that? And you see this? Price came back, filled this value gap, and broke out again from this resistance. You can see that price has been disrespecting previous highs. And you see that it's been disrespecting previous high and it's been respecting previous low. That's a sign that the trend is bullish. That's a sign that we have more demand than supply. That is a bullish structure. When highs are being disrespected and low is being respected, the lows are being respected, that is a bullish structure. That is a bullish structure. So now we're on 1 hour time frame. You can see the pattern we have on 1 hour time frame. It indicates that the trend is likely going to change from bullish to bearish. So based on the pattern we had on 4 hour, this is the 4 hour, the last 4 hour candle closed bearish. And you can see we had a fair value gap here also on the 4 hour time frame. Can you see that? This 4 hour is the reason. Can you see? Price pulled back to fill this fair value gap, and there was a strong rejection from that fair value gap. Can you see that? Can you see this? Can you see there's a strong rejection? A resistance has been created here. So let's go to 1 hour. So you can see what we have on 1 hour. You can see the fair value gap on 1 hour time frame. Price has filled that fair value gap, and we can see the patterns that form. These are bearish reversal patterns. These are bearish reversal patterns. So if 1 hour candle closes below the low of this bullish candle, we should expect DXY to sell. We should expect the price of DXY to drop if 1 hour candle closes below the low of this candle, and it is likely going to fill a fair value gap, or we could just apply our Fibonacci from this swing low to this swing high, wait for price to pull back to a discount area before you buy DXY. That's my take on DXY. Okay, my bias for the week is bullish, but before it goes bullish, it is likely going to retrace to fill a fair value gap. Let's see if we have a fair value gap on 5 minutes. So you can see this is what we have on 5 minutes. So you can see there are a lot of fair value gaps here on 5 minutes. Can you see? We have a fair value gap here on 5 minutes time frame. We have a fair value gap here on 5 minutes time frame. But our focus should be the fair value gap, which is at a discount area. Are you getting me? Our focus should be the fair value gap at discount. If we apply our Fibonacci from this swing low to this swing high, this will be our discount. You can see this fair value gap is created here at a discount area. So this will be a very good area to go bullish on DXY. We should expect a bearish move on DXY. There would be a pullback on DXY before going bullish. So between Monday and Tuesday, we could see that pullback. That pullback will occur between Monday and Tuesday, since there are no major news. So they could just use that to push price down to fill the fair value gap before going bullish. It means dollar might be weak on Monday and Tuesday. Okay, it might be weak. So if it is weak, then we'll be considering buying major currency pairs. Those pairs that have dollar as the counter or quote currency, we should look for buys on those pairs if dollar is weak. Okay, so like I said, I would wait for 1 hour to close below the low of this candle. It should close below the low of all this hanging man and spinning top. That is when I will go bearish on dollar index. But if dollar index breaks out from this resistance, then it's likely going to come fill. You can see this fair value gap it's created here. It has not filled this fair value gap. So it's likely going to come and fill this fair value gap and still go up to fill the fair value gap. I think we identified the fair value gap on a daily. You can see this fair value gap here. So it's likely going to come fill these gaps it's created. That's my take on DXY. But like I said, we should expect pullback on DXY before going bullish. Okay. So this is what I'm expecting on DXY. Okay, there should be a pullback. Okay. So discount area, then from there we could go bullish. That's my expectation on DXY. That's my expectation on DXY. Okay. Okay, so let's look at Good evening, Mr. Anayo. Good evening, Mr. Wale. Thanks for joining. If you have any question, if there's any instrument that you want us to look at, please drop it in the comment section. I believe you all can hear me loud and clear. Okay. So let's start with Mr. Rafael's request. So if you look at USDCHF, USDJPY, NZDJPY, please. If you have done your analysis, okay, if you've looked at USDCHF, USDJPY, NZDJPY, please, we would like to have your take on those pairs. What's your bias on USDCHF, USDJPY, NZDJPY, please? Would like to know your take on those pairs. If you have done your analysis before this class, would like to know your expectations on those pairs. Okay, so let's go to the currency pairs. Let's go to currency pairs. So as you can see, I'm not going to be using this chart. I've done my analysis. I've done my analysis, identified fair value gaps on this is for our time frame. This will be my entry on GBP USD. I've done my analysis, done my learning analysis. Okay. This is what you should be doing before the class or before the markets open. You should have done your analysis. I've done my analysis. Okay, so I expect price to break out from this high. Go down to 1 hour. It's the high of this previous candle. So I want 1 hour candle to close above the high of this candle before I will go bullish on GBP USD. You can see the pattern it formed here. Okay, this is an hammer. This is an hammer, but I still want to wait for price to break above the high of this inverted hammer before I will go bullish on GBP USD. Okay, so this is GBP USD. Let's start with the weekly time frame. So you can see last week candle closed strongly bearish. I think it's updated, yeah. It's closed as an hammer, right? The beginning of the week was bullish, but where it closed bullish, this is a bearish. This is a shooting star. Now what happened last week? Price was used to fill this fair value gap. You can see what they did was to fill this fair value gap. You can see, and after filling the fair value gap, what happened? A shooting star candle formed. A shooting star candle formed. If you do a back test before any change in trend occurs in the market, a candlestick pattern. There is always a candlestick pattern that will indicate that the trend is about to change. There is always a candlestick pattern. Whether you're trading SMC, you're trading whatever strategy you're using, you still have to know how to identify candlestick patterns. It's the candlestick pattern that tells you this is the right time to take a trade. I don't care what strategy you're trading with, you need to know how to identify candlestick patterns. Before there's a change in trend, you can see here, before the markets change from bearish to bullish, you can see here we had a spinning bottom. You can see spinning bottom, spinning top. Before the market changes trend from bullish to bearish, spinning top. Before it's changed from bearish to bullish, what do we have here? We have hammer, inverted hammer, spinning bottom, inverted hammer. You can see before the market changes its trend, a candlestick pattern informs you that the trend is about to change. You can see. Okay, so this indicates change in trend from bullish to bearish, right? Indicates trend from bullish, change of trend from bullish to bearish. So let's go to daily. What do we have on a daily time frame? Let's see. So you can see what we had on a daily time frame. This is an engulfing pattern on daily time frame, and I think price broke out, right? It broke out or it tested this support area, and there's a little rejection from that area, from that level. You can see that. So let's go down to 4 hour. Let's see what we had on 4 hour. So you can see GBP USD have a lot of fair value gaps here that it needs to fill. But with this move we saw that was on Friday after NFP news release, you can see that was the reason for this strong bearish move. I believe price will pull back. Okay, so you can see it's created a fair value gaps. You can see it's created fair value gaps. So I'm expecting GU to pull back, okay, to fill this fair value gap. Okay, that's my expectation on GU. I expect GU to pull back to fill this fair value gap. That's my expectation on GU before going bearish on GBP USD. Okay, I expect price to fill this fair value gap. Okay, this fair value gap. If it doesn't come to fill it, at least it will pull back. It should pull back to fill to test this support, this broken support, stone resistance. It's likely going to come back, pull, fill, or test to retest this broken support stone resistance. If it doesn't fill this fair value gap, if it doesn't come to fill this fair value gap, it will test this broken support stone resistance. That's my expectation on GBP USD. And you can see how last 4-hour candle closed. You can see how it closed. Go down to 1 hour. Let's see the pattern we have on 1 hour. So you can see the pattern. This is inverted hammer. This is an hammer. Inverted hammer, hammer, indicating change in trend. So like I said, this will be my entry. If the market closes, 1 hour candle closes above this high, I will go bullish on GBP USD. This will be my entry. And if I'm buying from this point, I don't use more than 30 pips. My stop loss does not exceed 30 pips. So let's assume the candle that closes above this high closes at this point. I also want to ensure that the candle that will close above the high of this candle should not, the difference from the high of this candle to the closing of that candle should not be more than 10 pips. For me to take the trade, the difference between the high of this candle and the close of the candle should not exceed 10 pips. If it exceeds 10 pips, I would wait for price to pull back before I would buy it. I hope you're getting me. Okay, so I'm waiting for 1 hour candle close above this level for me to buy. So if I'm buying, let's say I'm buying from this one, my stop loss, like I said, is 30 pips. So my stop loss will be at this point, 30 pips, and I'll go for at least 50 pips, 50 pips minimum, 50 pips minimum. That's like 1:2, 1:2, no, 1:1.8 or 1.7. Okay, and that's because there's no major news tomorrow. That's why I'm reducing my risk reward. I'm reducing my reward to like 1:1.5, 1:1.6 or 1.7 because there are no major news. No major news expected tomorrow. If there were to be a major news, I will go for 1 to 2, 1 to 2.5. You need to understand the state of the market, the nature of the market. If the market, the volatility is low, you shouldn't be aiming for high reward. You shouldn't be aiming for high reward. Because when you know the market will be very volatile, that's when you can go for 1 to 2, 1 to 3, even 1 to 4. But when there are no major news to drive price action, then you should just go for low risk reward. I hope that is clear. So that's my take on Euro, on GBP USD. Okay. So I will look for a buy opportunity. If price pulls back to this area, then look for sell. Okay. Buy from this point. If price push up to this level, then I can look for sell. Is that clear? So let's look at USD CHF. That's request from Mr. Raphael. USD CHF. USD CHF. Okay. So let's start with the weekly. You need to know the trend for the week before you execute any trade for the week. You need to know the trend for the week. So what do we have on USD CHF? What can you see on USD CHF? Last week, I think price was used to fill. You can see this fair value gap. I think we had the fair value gap here. Yeah, we had the fair value gap here. You see it clearly on the daily time frame. If you go to daily, you see it clearly. Let's go to daily. Okay, so on the daily time frame, you can see, I think the fair value gap was at this point. Yeah. Okay, so we had a tiny fair value gap here. Can you see the fair value gap? It's a tiny one. The gap in between the high of this candle and the high of, or the low of this candle. Let's go to 4 hour. Let's see on 4 hour. So you can see it on 4 hour. It's very clear on 4 hour. This is the fair value gap. Can you see that? Can you see that? And I think price pulled back to fill that fair value gap. Can you see it? Price pulled back to fill this fair value gap. Can you see that? And there's a strong rejection from that fair value gap. You can see there's a strong rejection from that fair value gap. This is a bullish setup on USD CHF. Can you see this? This is a bullish setup on USD CHF. You can see the candlestick that formed after price filled the fair value gap. You can see we had an hammer here, and the next candle closed above the high of this hammer. That would have been a good entry. Immediately price closed after the high of this hammer. That would have been a good entry for USD CHF buy, and you can see it has created lots of fair value gaps here. You can see. Can you see this? Okay. Then now let's go down to lower time frame. I'm sure a fair value gap has been created here, or was created. Okay, fair value gap was created here, so we should expect price before you buy. You don't want to buy from. You can see where it started buying. Can you see this? This is 1 hour. This would have been the best entry for buy on USD CHF, and you can see the market is currently trading far above this level. This is where you would have entered buy. So if you didn't buy from this point, you cannot buy from this point. You can see that's about 117 pips above this level. This is where one would have entered buy. Now the market has moved over 100 pips above this level. So you don't want to buy. If you want to buy, you should wait for price to pull back. So you can see on 4 hour, no, this is 1 hour time frame. You can see we had a fair value gap here. Can you see this fair value gap on 1 hour? Can you see this fair value gap on 1 hour? So price is likely going to come fill this fair value gap. This is where I will be considering going bullish on USD CHF. Though I don't trade USD CHF, but if I'm to take any risk on USD CHF, if I'm to take any trade on USD CHF, which will be a buy, okay, the buy trend has been established on 4 hour time frame and 1 hour time frame. You can see that. So I need to wait for price to pull back to this zone. Okay, if we apply a Fibonacci tool, okay, wait for price. This is the most recent swing high and swing low. Wait for price to pull back to the discount area, which is below level 50. Okay, below level 50. Level 50 is equilibrium. You should expect price to pull back to a discount area before you buy. Okay, I believe you know the reason why it's important that you wait for price to pull back to a discount area. When there's a discount on a product, there will be a lot of demand. Discount means it is cheap, right? There's a discount on a product, there will be a lot of demand. So that's why it's important that you always wait for price to pull back to a discount area before you buy. When the price of a product is at premium means it is expensive. And when it is expensive, many people won't buy from there. They won't buy, they will rather sell from that point if it is expensive. So you sell from premium, you buy at discount. Exactly. So that's my take on USD CHF. You should expect buys on USD CHF this week, but before it buys, you should wait for retracement to a discount area before going bullish. That's my take on USD CHF. Okay, let's look at let's look at USD JPY. That's my take on USD CHF. It's a buy for me this week, but sales will be retracement. Sales on USD CHF will be retracement. Okay. USD JPY. USD JPY. Let's start with the weekly. What's the trend on the weekly time frame? Okay, so as you can see, I think this pullback was to fill the fair value gap was created here. You can see we have this tiny fair value gap here on the weekly time frame. Let me identify it so that you can see the tiny fair value gap here. Okay, on the weekly time frame. Let's go down to daily. You see it clearly on the daily time frame. So on the daily, you can see the fair value gap on the daily time frame. As you're wondering why price broke out on the weekly fair value gap, you can see this on the daily. So you can see, it? Price filled the fair value gap, and there was a strong rejection from that fair value gap. You can see the pattern that formed there is an hammer. This is an hammer on USD JPY. So based on the pattern that we have on the daily time frame, we should expect buys on USD JPY. Okay, but before we buy, let's see what we have on 4-hour. Let's see the pattern on 4-hour. So you can see the pattern that formed on 4-hour. So we should expect price to pull back. So you can see we had the fair value gap here. Price filled this fair value gap, and there was a strong rejection. You can see there's a strong rejection from this fair value gap. Can you see it? So what we have here is a shooting star, right? It's a shooting star. So we need to wait for price to pull back. Okay. We need to wait for price to pull back. Let's go down to 1 hour. Let's see if it's created a fair value gap. So on 1 hour, do we have a fair value gap here? You can't. Okay, we had the fair value gap here. We had the fair value gap here on 1 hour, but let's see 15 minutes. So you can see on 15 minutes, we have a fair value gap here. Why do we have to work with this fair value gap? Because this fair value gap is at a discount area. The one I identified on 1 hour is at premium. So best to wait for price to pull back to this zone before you consider going bullish on USD JPY. Okay, price should pull back to a discount area before you go bullish on. So you can see what played out here. What played out here last Friday. Okay, after the formation of this shooting star, if you go down to lower time frame, you would see a fair value gap was created here, and that was the reason for this pullback. Let's confirm that on 5 minutes. So you can see the reason price pulled back. We had a fair value gap here. There was a fair value gap here. Okay, there's a tiny fair value gap here. Let's go down to 1 minute. You see it clearly on 1 minute. Let's go down to 1 minute so I see it clearly. So you can see the fair value gap that was created here. You see this fair value gap. Oh, this okay. It's here. So you can see this fair value gap here on. So the fair value gap on 1 minute. And see there's a tiny fair value gap here. There's a tiny fair value gap here. That's the reason for this pullback, and that gap has been filled. It has been filled. Okay. So based on 1 hour and 15 minutes time frame, I think we should expect pullback. It's a pullback, okay? It's a pullback, but long term, this USDJPY is going to buy. It's going to buy. So every sell on USDJPY this week will be a pullback. You can see there's a shift in market structure. Can you see it? There's a shift in market structure at this point. Can you see this? This is a shift in market structure. Okay, so there's a change in trend from bearish structure to bullish structure. So since there's a shift in market structure, we need to wait for price to pull back to the discount area before we go bullish on USDJPY. I hope that is clear. So my bias on USDJPY is bullish for the week, but we want to see price pull back to a discount area before we buy. Technically, okay. Remember, a major news will be released from Japan. Remember, a major news will be released from Japan. I think it was on Wednesday, right? To be released on Wednesday, right? This Bank of Japan governor will be speaking on Wednesday. So this could also could change the direction of the market. Okay, if it is positive for Japan, then USDJPY could sell. If the news favors Japan, then we should expect bearish move. Everything I'm sharing with you guys is based on technical analysis. I'm using technical tools. And remember, there are a lot of other factors that influence this price action. Okay, Technical analysis is just one of them. We have the fundamentals, we have the sentiments. Okay, so technically, USJPY should be bullish this coming week. Okay, so that's my take on USD JPY. I hope that's clear, Mr. Raphael. Mr. Nayo, can you see the screen now? I believe others can see the screen. Can you see the screen now, Mr. Nayo? Please, you all should confirm you can see the screen. Please, you all should confirm you can see my screen. Mr. Nayo says you can't see my screen. Can you all see my screen? Please confirm. Confirm if you can see my screen. Confirm. Please, if you are here to give this video a thumbs up, please give it a thumbs up so that others can get to see this video. I want you all to please give this video a thumbs up. I want to believe you're getting value. Okay, let others get to see this video, please. Give it a thumbs up. And if this is your first time participating on the live stream, first, I want to thank you for joining the class. I believe you're getting value. Please just subscribe to the channel so that anytime I come on live, you get notified by YouTube. Okay. So, which other instrument do you want us to look at? Let me know in the comment section. Which other instruments do you want us to look at? Let me know in the comment section. Is it only Mr. Raphael that will be trading this week? What pairs are you considering trading this week? Let us know in the comment section. Let us know. NZDJPY. Let's see NZDJPY. So Mr. Akoro, others can see my screen. If you can't see my screen, then you need to fix. The challenge is at your hand. All right. You can see it now. Good. Please give the video a thumbs up if you haven't done that. Give it a thumbs up. So let's start with the weekly. So I think NZDJPY should have the same similar pattern with what we have on USDJPY. So last week was strongly bearish. It was strongly bearish on NZDJPY, and let's see daily. So this is what we have on the daily, I think. So liquidity residing at this previous low was cleared on NZDJPY. Let's see if we have a fair value gap. So you can see the fair value gap here. So this could be the reason for the pullback, this fair value gap, which is the gap. Okay, so let's see. Price tested, I think. Okay, so you can see we had a fair value gap here, cleared liquidity residing at this previous low. You might be asking, why is it that it goes below this fair value gap? If you go to lower time frame, say 4 hour, I'm sure there's a fair value gap below what we have here on the daily time frame. Okay, there's a fair value gap below. That's why price closed below this fair value gap on the daily time frame. So let's go down to okay, Euro USD. Okay, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So let's go down to 4 hour. Let's see what we have on 4 hour. So this is what we have on 4 hour time frame. So this is what we have on 4 hour. Okay, so let's see 1 hour. So you can see on 1 hour, you can see we have several bullish reversal patterns. On 1 hour, we had an hammer here. We had a spinning bottom. We also had a bullish spinning bottom. This indicates change in trend from bearish to bullish. From bearish to bullish. So you can see that it created a resistance at this area. And the markets, you can see this resistance it created. So if price breaks out from this resistance, we should expect more bullish move on New Zealand JPY. Okay, if price breaks out from this resistance, you could look for buys. You could look for buys. And see the pattern that formed here. This is an inverted hammer. This is an inverted hammer. Price has been struggling to break out from this resistance. You can see this candlestick tested it, and there was a strong rejection from there. So if price breaks out from this zone, then you should expect more bullish move on New Zealand JPY. So New Zealand JPY, USD CHF, and USD JPY. And buyers is bullish. It's bullish, but before you buy, wait for price to pull back before you buy. Okay, so if you ever look at was created here on 15 minutes time frame, let's see, this gap has been filled. Okay, this gap has been filled. So price might still want to pull back to test this fair value gap. That's my expectation. If you want to buy, wait for price to pull back to this area, or wait for price to break out from this resistance zone before you go bullish. That's my take. Okay, if 1 hour candle closes above this resistance area, then you should buy. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, Mr. Naya says we should look at Euro USD. Mr. Joseph, which pair are you trading? Mr. Wale, which pair? Mr. Wale, you sent me a message. This is the time for you to ask your questions. Which pair do you want us to look at? Okay, let me know. Let me know. I know some of those pairs you sent to me. Mr. Raphael has dropped some of those pairs here. Those ones are not included here. Please just drop it. Drop it, Mr. Wale. Drop it, Mr. Wale. So let's look at Euro USD. Euro USD, where are you? Okay. Euro USD. So let's start with the weekly. Okay, so last week, if you ever look up here, got filled. That should tell you Euro USD is bearish now. Okay, it has filled this fair value gap that was created here. You can see after filling the fair value gap, there was a strong rejection from that area. Okay, so after the close of the weekly candle, what pattern do we have on 4 hour or daily? Let's see daily. So we had the last Friday candle closed as a bearish candle, and it tested, I think it tested this broken resistance. Tested this broken resistance turn support, and there was rejection from that level. Okay, so let's go to 4 hour. What do we have on 4 hour? Okay, so this is what we had on 4 hour. You see this, it was strongly bearish. Okay, strongly bearish. So Euro USD on the pattern on the weekly and daily time frame, we should expect more bearish move. Okay, but before we sell, we might see price pull back. Okay, might see price pull back. Okay, as you can see, the pattern we have on 1 hour is a bullish reversal pattern. It's a bullish reversal pattern, so we might see price pull back to a premium area before going bearish on Euro USD. Okay, I think we had a fair value gap here. Let me go down to the We just apply your Fibonacci tool. You have difficulty identifying the fair value gaps. Okay, so Euro USD is bearish, but before you sell Euro USD, wait for price to pull back to a premium area before you sell. That's my take on Euro USD. I think we have a fair value gap here. Go down to 5 minutes. I'm sure fair value gap was created here. I want to see price pull back. You can see this fair value gap is created here on 5 minutes, and this fair value gap is at a premium area. It's at a premium area, and you can see it has created a lot of areas of liquidity. All these previous highs, this previous high, this previous high, this high, all these are areas of liquidity. So it's likely going to play all. If you apply your trend line, let's apply the trend line, take it from this point. You see this, okay? And see this trend line. So it's likely going to come and play these highs before going bearish. So that's my take on Euro USD. If you want to buy, I personally, if I want to take a trade on Euro USD, I want to let me go down to back to 1 hour. So you can see on 1 hour, we had a doji here or a spinning bottom that formed before this candle. So if I want to buy, I want to see 1 hour candle close above the high of this candle. This is where I will consider buying. This is where I will consider buying Euro USD. If 1 hour candle closes above the high of this candle, that will be a buy. And if I'm buying from this point, I'm buying above this point, my stop loss will be, let's say, 30 pips, and I'll go for, let's say, 50 pips. Okay, my TP will be around this level. Just go for 50 pips and risk just 30 pips. Okay, so that's it for Euro USD. If 1 hour candle closes above this high, I would buy Euro USD. I hope that is clear. All right, JPY, what your buyers suggest is a sell. Okay, short-term bullish and long-term bearish. Okay, short-term bullish, long-term bearish. Okay, so let's look at GBP, JPY, GBP, JPY, GBP, JPY. So let's start with the weekly. Last week was strongly bearish on GJ. Congrats to those who sold GJ. If you sold GJ last week, congratulations. I'm sure you made so much pips on GJ. I'm sure you made so much pips on GJ. So last week was strongly bearish. You can see price tested a support area. You can see tested this support area, this support zone, and there's a rejection support here, and here also there's a support, turn resistance, resistance, turn support, resistance, turn support. So price is currently sitting at a very key level, sitting at a key support level, or you call it your strong support level. Okay, it is called a strong support level because that level has acted as a support at least 2 times in the past. That's why it is called a strong support level. Okay, so you can see last week candle sitting on the support. Let's go down to daily. So you can see what we have here on the daily time frame. Then after the close of the daily time frame, what pattern do we have on 4 hour? So you can see the pattern we have here. This is an hammer, inverted hammer, hammer, inverted hammer, indicating changing trend from bearish to bullish. So let's go down to 1 hour. Let's see. So you can see the pattern we had on 1 hour. I think shifting market structure occurred here on 1 hour time frame. You can see this candle still closed above these highs. It's a shifting market structure. And after the shifting market structure, price pulled back. I'm sure a fair value gap was created at this point, and that's the reason for the pullback. Let's confirm that on lower time frame. So you can see it created a fair value gap here on 1 hour. Can you see it? This could be the reason for this pullback. Okay, let's see on 5 minutes. So you can see the fair value gap is created on 5 minutes. Okay, so this could be the reason for the pullback. So that could be the reason for the pullback. So why did price close below this fair value gap? It means on 1 minute there's a fair value gap below. It means there's a fair value gap below. That's the reason price broke out that 5 minutes fair value gap. So can you see the this is the fair value gap on 1 minute? Yeah. This is the fair value gap on 1 minute. So that could be the reason for the pullback. Okay, so that could be the reason for the pullback. And as you can see, the market is currently trading above the fair value gap. It's trading above the fair value gap. So usually okay, buy. Okay, so if I'm to buy Euro GBP JPY, this will be my entry for Euro JPY. 1 hour candle should close above the high, this level. 1 hour candle should close above this high. This is where I will be considering buying GK. This is where I'll be considering buying GK. And if we go to higher time frame, we can see it has created fair value gap, liquidity voids that needs to be filled, okay, on 4 hour time frame. So see 1 hour. So you can see we have a fair value gap here on 1 hour. The fair value gap here. We have fair value gap here. We had one here. I think this one has been filled. This one has been filled, right? This fair value gap is created here has been filled. So price might not pull back to this area because this fair value gap has been filled. So I think we had another one here, and this one has not been filled. This gap has not been filled. Right, this gap has not been filled. We also had another one here. It's another one. This one has not been filled. And also we had a fair value gap here also. I think this will be their next target. This fair value gap will be their next target. This will be the next target because this is an area of liquidity. The high of this candle is an area of liquidity. There are a lot of buy orders residing at this high, so there's a high probability they will come for the stop losses residing at this high. And since we have a fair value gap above this previous high, there's a high probability they will fill this gap before going bearish. So this is the target, the next target for GBP JPY. Sure, there's a high probability they will come for the liquidity, the stop losses, because a lot of traders would have executed sell after the formation of this pattern. If you go down to lower time frame, I'm sure you'll be able to identify a bearish reversal pattern. You can see it on lower time frame. You can see this bearish reversal pattern. This shooting star would have made a lot of retail traders sell. And where would they have their stop loss? Most of them will have their stop loss at this high. You can see that. So there's a high probability they will come for these highs before going bearish. So I think I agree with you. Short term is bullish, long term is bearish. Okay, so I think I agree with you, Mr. Joseph. That's my take on USD, sorry, GBP JPY. I hope that is clear. Is there any other instrument you want us to look at? Let me know in the comment section. So let's look at gold. We cannot end the session without looking at gold. Most volatile. And look at, can do or end the session without looking at gold. How many of you made money on gold last week? I don't trade gold. How many of you made money on gold last week? How many of you made money on gold? Gold last week candle closed as a shooting star, or it didn't close below the low of previous week. Okay, it didn't close below the low of previous week candle. Let's go down to daily at the close. Okay, so you can see what we have here. Okay, this is a bearish reversal pattern, and I want you to see this on the daily. You can see we had a fair value gap. So could it be that this retracement was to fill? Could Could it be that this retracement was to fill this fair value gap? You can see after the price filled that fair value gap, you can see there's a rejection. Can you see there's a strong rejection from that fair value gap? If you apply your Fibonacci tool from this swing low to this swing high also, price is at what? Discount. Price is at discount. So there's a probability gold will pull back. Okay, there's a probability gold will pull back. Let's see for hour. So you can see we had, so there's a probability gold will come fill this fair value gap. Okay, gold is likely going to come and fill this fair value gap. Okay, it's likely going to come fill this fair value gap before going bearish. Okay, so that's what I see on gold. That's what I see on gold. So you can see our last 4-hour candle close bullish, close bullish. Let's go down to 1 hour. Let's see the pattern on 1 hour. So you can see on 1 hour we had an hammer here, we had a doji. You can see. So this is a bullish reversal pattern on. You can see a resistance was created here. This candle closed above that resistance, indicating high demand than supply. But if I want to take a risk on gold, I want to see price close above the high of this bearish candle. Okay, the high of this bearish candle. That is when I would consider going bullish on gold. So on gold, you can see on 1 hour time frame, this is the fair value gap. This could be the next target for gold. This could be the next target for gold. Okay, this could be the next target for gold. Also, we should also consider these lows. This could be an area of liquidity. They could come for this low before going bullish on gold. There are a lot of sell stop orders residing at this previous lows. So they might want to come for these lows before going bullish. So it's either 1 hour candle closes above this high for me to buy, or wait for liquidity to be cleared before going bullish on gold. Any question? Do you have any question? Some of you are here to like the stream. It costs you nothing to like the stream. It costs you nothing. Just click on the thumbs up icon. Is it that many you don't know how to like the video? You don't know how to like the video? Just click on that thumbs up icon. Okay, click on the thumbs up icon. Any question? Any question? Any question? Our next class will be on Tuesday. Our next class will be on Tuesday. Our next class will be on Tuesday, London session. Any question? Do you have any question? So if there are no questions, that will be all for tonight's session. I want to believe you got value from this session. I wish you all a profitable trading week. Like I've always advised you guys, ensure that you apply stop losses on all your trade. Ensure you apply good risk and money management. Okay, your risk reward should not go below 1:1.5. Okay, 1:1.5. You should use 1:1.5 when there are no major news. Okay, to drive price action. You could go for 1:1.5, or when a major news is expected, you can go for 1 to 2 risk reward. You can go for 1 to 3 risk reward. Okay, if high impact news is being expected. Well, like tomorrow, there are no major news. Tuesday also no major news. We should expect low volatility. So you can't be aiming for 100 pips or 200 pips. Okay, so any question? Any question? Do you have any question? Any question? question? Any question before I end the session? Any question? You're welcome, Mr. Joseph. Thanks for participating. All right, okay. Any question from Mr. Adebayo? Thank you very much for your participation, Mr. Adebayo. All right, no question. So that will be all for tonight's session. Like I said, our next class will be on Tuesday, but for VIP students, we'll meet tomorrow on Zoom. We'll meet on Zoom tomorrow by 8 or 9 p.m. I'll communicate the time with you guys if you are on the VIP group. Okay, we'll meet tomorrow by 8, 9 p.m. for daily market review and outlook. Good night.